There is a conspiracy theory that a shadowy elite of international bankers are secretly controlling the governments of the world.
They say that the people that control this world could sit around one large table and have lunch.
The theory goes that these elitists plan to create an all-powerful new world order, a world government that will destroy anyone who disobeys them.
Is there a new world order?
There's a new world order.
Is there a new religion coming?
New religion's coming.
This is the story of a family who wanted to escape from the clutches of this tyrannical elite by moving to a mountaintop in Idaho. When Rachel Weaver was 2 years old, in the mid-1980s, her parents, Randy and Vicky, moved the family from Iowa City to a mountaintop in Idaho, a place that became known as Ruby Ridge. They believed that an evil elite of international bankers and media moguls was secretly controlling their increasingly tyrannical government. The move to the cabin was their way of opting out.
We wanted to kind of get out of the regular system and wanted to find a place where we could teach the kids at home, get them out of the city and out of the public school system. Like government school is what I call them. And, you know, kids in the city grow up with basketballs and bicycles, and kids in the mountains or out in the country grow up with dogs and guns. It isn't about hunting or target shooting. It's for protection against a government that can become tyrannical.
The reason why I don't look at it as a big political thing is because even if I had, you know, my rifles, it's not like it's going to do me any good if the government wants to wipe me out. All I have to do is fly over in a helicopter and drop a firebomb, you know. But as far as trying to go up against the government, that's just, unless the whole country did it, I guess.
They thought that if they couldn't be left alone on top of a mountain in Idaho, where could they be left alone? One place the Weavers went to discuss politics was Aryan Nations, a hardcore neo-Nazi compound 70 miles from the cabin. Aryan Nations holds summer camps every year, and Randy used to visit, sometimes taking the children along. Aryan Nations are very specific about who they feel is in charge of the New World Order. The Weaver family were never as hardcore in their beliefs as the people at Aryan Nations. Randy and Vicky were not obsessed with hating Jews. They were not white supremacists, but they liked the neo-Nazis as people, shared their hatred for the government, and enjoyed their picnic areas and summer camp activities.
What I remember is things like the candy hunts and meeting friends in the playground and sitting around a table, and, you know, if we'd meet someone new, we'd hear news stories or something, or old friends would exchange news stories. Or
It was at Aryan Nations that the Weavers' problems began. The US government had infiltrated the compound, hoping to recruit some of the less hardcore members as undercover informants. They asked Randy to become one.
Randy said, no, I don't want to do it. You know, I moved out of the city, up on top of this mountain because you guys are all rotten. I don't want to work with you. I know what you're up to. I don't want to be a part of it. Go away. So then the government, as it is today, decided you can't say no to God, our government, so now we're going to make you serve us. So they sent a infiltrator in that was a snitch for the federal government to become friends with Randy. And you know the story about asking him to saw off 2 shotguns.
First he said machine guns. I said, I can't get to no machine guns. He says, well, how about sawed-off shotguns? They're real good. I go, oh, well, no problem. That's easy.
He grabs his file and he files it. You know, he saws the barrels off, not knowing he's violating federal law.
I totally don't understand why they even came to my dad to ask him to saw off shotguns.
Mr. Weaver, we can get you on 6 or 7 federal firearms violations, but we'd probably forego that if you'd join our team. And I just kind of, I don't think so. And he just come clear across the seat and got right in my face. He says, well, that's the way we do it, right? He says, tomorrow morning, 11 o'clock, you'll be down in Spokane Federal Building, and don't tell anybody you're coming, not even your wife. About that time, Vicky come walking out of the cabin by me and said, hey, Vic, come here. She walked over to the truck and said, remember their names and faces. They go, we got to go. Peeled out of the gravel, throwing rocks, took off. They knew I wasn't coming down Spokane the next day.
Randy was indicted on the shotgun charge. Feeling that he'd been coerced into committing a crime by a tyrannical government controlled by the New World Order, he decided not to show up in court. Randy let it be known that he would not be taken off the mountain alive. A family friend called Kevin Harris moved in with them.
I knew I was going to lose. They had me set up, white supremacist, gun runner, blah, 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 and those people that they put on juries in North Idaho are the local brainwashed county, city fathers and mothers. If the government told them to go down Monday morning and get a walking license and pay $10 a year for it, they'd do it. From then on, I never left that property.
Pretty neat view, huh?
It was as if Randy and Vicky's conspiracy theories were coming true. They had moved to the mountains to escape a tyrannical government, and a tyrannical government was now coming to get them.
The marshals were up there doing the same thing they've been doing off and on for the last 3 months. They had cameras up there. Of course, Randy had found one of the cameras and had destroyed it. And they got too close to the cabin. And the dogs got a scent of them. And the dogs started chasing. The deputies started running down the hill. And then the shots were fired.
If I'd had any idea that these federal marshals were doing, they was out there dinking around, I'd have never, I wouldn't have gone out there myself, but I sure as hell wouldn't have let Sam and Kevin go running chasing that dog after federal marshals. I mean, that'd be stupid. That was stupid. But so I go down this logging road, down to the area they call the Y. I hear clunk, clunk, clunk. I look, and here's this guy jumps out in front of me, total cameled out. I mean, I saw his eyes and I saw his mouth move, and he yelled, "Freeze, Weaver." I said, "You." I was yelling for the boys. "Boys, get home, boys. It's an ambush," right? I heard Sam yell, "I'm coming, Dad." Boom, 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 boom. Then it opened up.
The deputies started running down the hill. Randy, Kevin Harris, and Sammy Weaver started chasing them down. The dogs started coming down. They got to a Y. The deputies stopped, and shots got fired. The dog was definitely shot.
One of the agents shot Stryker in the back and hit his spine, and little Samuel, who raised the dog from a pup, saw him run around in circles yiping and then fall dead. Sammy opened fire on the agents that had shot his dog and said, "You guys killed my dog," and he opened fire and shot several times. And as it turned out, he didn't hit anybody. But then when they of course fired back at him with military rifles, these automatic fire rifles, and almost cut his left arm off. Now remember, he was a 10-year-old boy, you know, small. So they shot his left arm to where it was just hanging by the flesh, and little Samuel turned around and ran up the mountain and screamed to his dad, "I'm coming home, Dad." And at that time, my fellow officers took a MP5 machine gun and just sprayed him right up the back as he's running away and murdered him right there.
I think it was right after that, Mom said we got to go get him. And so Mom and Dad went down. Kevin went with them. And I went in the house and got Elizabeth dressed. And I never saw him. They put him in the guest shed, and Dad and Mom went in and cleaned him up and wrapped him in a sheet, I guess.
It's a bad deal. You know, I didn't give a shit about nothing after that. I still don't, pretty much.
Vicky Weaver wrote in her diary that night that Sam was killed while chasing the servants of the New World Order. A US Marshal had been killed, so his team called for backup. A 400-strong army descended on the cabin. They sealed off the mountain. 2 miles away, down in the valley, the neighbors began a protest at the roadblock. Martial law was declared by the state governor, who called the Weaver cabin an extreme emergency and disaster area.
Good afternoon. A federal agent has been shot and killed in a confrontation with a fugitive in North Idaho.
We started listening to the news that night. Oh, crazy bastard, you know, white supremacists murder U.S. Marshal. Yeah, right. We murdered him. Yeah, wrong. This is a big deal now. Crazy white supremacist, and they got a dead cop. Whoa, whoa, this cop is worth more than my son? I don't think so. He ain't even worth more than my dog.
Were you aware of just how many troops turned up after that?
No, hell no.
The military operation was undertaken with such stealth that besides from hearing a few sirens down in the valley, the Weaver family had no idea that their cabin was now surrounded by FBI snipers.
The next day, the other two dogs that we had tied up out in the yard started kind of whimpering and barking a little bit. And I thought, yep, here they come. Somebody's out there wants to talk to us. I took Sam's Mini 14, and I walked out, and bang, I got shot through the shoulder. It was like a bloody mist went out across the front of my face. I smelled that, and it went, I cussed in my mind, you know, like this, you know, this really hurts. And then I got my bearings, and I went through my mind, they're going to murder me now. They're going to kill me now.
He first took a shot at my dad and hit him in the back, came out through his armpit. And then, as they were running into the house, he shot my mother, and it went through her head and killed her, and the bullet then entered Kevin Harris. She was holding my little sister, who was 10 months old at the time.
So Vicky goes to the door while she's nursing little Alicia, pushes the door open frantically because she hears the gunfire, and here comes the whole family running in the door.
The bullet had come through the window in the door, would have went through Vicky's face here and come out this, or let's see, she was facing that way, would have come in here, out here, right over the baby's head, and into Kevin. Kevin's coming in, it went in his left arm, and the main part of the bullet broke two ribs and stopped about this far from his heart.
The family locked themselves in the cabin for over a week. Nobody but the Weavers and the FBI knew that Vicky had been killed.
How many of you against one is there, huh? We want a head count. We want to know how many are still alive up there.
After they shoot the dog, and my brother, they ran over the dog. It's just sick.
Baby killers! You're all baby killers. You're a bunch of senseless bastards! All of you!
2 miles down in the valley, the protest at the roadblock had swelled to thousands. People travelled from across America to support the Weavers. The siege at Ruby Ridge lasted for 10 days. Every morning, Bo and Jack would return up the mountain to talk to the family through the cabin walls.
We're trying to calm them down, get them to stop crying, and to focus on something else other than their mother laying up underneath the kitchen table in a pool of blood. And so basically we spent the morning talking to them about the need to come out and take it to court. We knew then they had one fantastic case in court against this government. Oh my goodness. There's something in law enforcement called jury appeal. And when you machine gun a little boy running away from you and shoot a mother holding a baby in the head, you got jury appeal.
It was 11 days into the siege that Bo and Jack finally convinced the family to take their case to court.
Well, the door opens and they come out. Oh, I tell you, boy, I just about get tears in my eyes now thinking about it. The saddest days of my life was spent on the top of that mountain, when I realized that my fellow police officers and soldiers are capable of that, you see, that I served with. I never would have believed that, never would have believed it, you know.
In 1994, the Weaver family files a civil suit, and 1 year later, the federal government settles for $3.1 million.
Nobody came out of Ruby Ridge looking good. I think to a sense, everybody there was a victim.
We fouled up in front of the entire world, and it should never have happened. And I think it was just a really disappointing day for the FBI.
The FBI later admits to covering up facts during the court case, and the rules of engagement are deemed unconstitutional.
The timing of the siege at Waco was no coincidence. They say it was a deliberate PR stunt designed to deflect the bad publicity they were getting for the shootings of Vicky and Sammy Weaver.
She was standing right here, right in the window, holding it open, holding the baby, saying, "Get in the house, get in the house."
And she was shot here?
Yes.
Perhaps it was no coincidence. It was 6 days into Randy Weaver's trial that the BATF announced that they were taking military action against a violent, child-abusing, gun-hoarding religious cult holed up in a compound in Texas.
Look at